Right, now, my next guest says, forget those emails. Here's the deal. Global warming is a very real global problem. Dan Weiss from the Center for American Progress. Dan, welcome to the program. Good to have you with us.
Thanks for having me, Stuart.
Look, why, if these emails suggest hiding some evidence, the evidence being that the Earth has not warmed in the last 10 years, why put these emails out? Why are you hiding them if global warming does exist? Sounds like it's an attempt to suppress what's really going on.
Well, first of all, Stuart, as you know, those emails were from hacking into the computers by, we believe, some Russian source. They haven't even been authenticated. There's a more fundamental point here.
Dan, do you contest them? Do you contest them?
There's a more fundamental point here.
Are thousands of emails a pack of lies?
I'm not involved in cybersecurity, so I don't know if they're authentic or not.
Are you questioning their authenticity?
It's unknown at this time. But here's the more fundamental point, Stuart.
No. The fundamental point here is that we have evidence here, thousands of emails, which you may or may not contest, which suggest that inside the climate community there is a great deal of threat going on, threatening the editors of magazines and threatening other people who disagree with their point of view, to the point where it raises the doubt that there is unity amongst the climate community, that there is indeed global warming. That's it.
Stuart, may I have a chance to speak, please?
Yes.
The greatest threat isn't about these emails or to Pat Michaels. The greatest threat is that global warming, pollution will continue unabated and cause irreversible harm to our planet. Let me read you a quote from the U.S. climate change program started by President George W. Bush. It says, quote, "Global warming is unequivocal and primarily human-induced." So that is what the threat is. It's not whether or not these emails that may or may not be authentic or that may or may not be altered.
So you are questioning the authenticity of the emails. You are questioning the authenticity of the emails, and then you're saying that they are not relevant, even though they attempt to hide evidence that the globe is not warming for the last 10 years. Look at this. We can't account for the lack of warming at the moment, and it is a travesty that we can't. Now, you may or may not contest whether that's true, but that is what we've got on our screen. That's what's being said. Those are emails. They directly refute your point.
Stuart, if you want to have me on, let me respond. You're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts. Here are the facts. The U.S. Global Warming Program says global warming is unequivocal and human-induced.
This is not an argument about whether global warming exists. It's not an argument about whether global warming exists. It is an argument about whether you people should be threatening those who disagree with you.
Reported out a number of impacts. Today, the Associated Press reported out a number of impacts of global warming that are happening right now. Sea level rise up 1.5 inches. Our average temperatures up nearly half a degree over the last dozen years. We've got reservoirs in the Southwest that were full 10 years ago and now are only half full.
Dan,
we've got on and on. The number of acres burned in wildfires have doubled.
You're in retreat.
Okay, that's the threat, Stuart. Not whether or not these emails are authentic or are complete.
All right, from my point of view, here's what I see. I see you guys in retreat. I see the Copenhagen meeting is a bust, and I think you'll admit that. Cap-and-trade legislation has been pushed well into next year and may completely disappear. Public opinion is beginning to run against you, and there is a very strong feeling that your argument and your support has peaked and is going into reverse. I think you're being very defensive here.
I'm defending the science. You're talking a bunch of emails that may or may not be authentic or may or may not be unadulterated. Here's the thing, Stuart. A group after science group, the American Academy of Advancement of Science, the National Academy of Sciences, our own science program started by George W. Bush, the International Panel on Climate Change, all of them come to the same conclusion. Then you have a bunch of emails that may or may not be authentic, questioning very small parts of the whole thing.
Well, Dan,
the reality is, the planet is warming. The question is, do we want to act or not?
We thank you very much indeed for joining us, but, you know, I don't know whether we can really question the authenticity of those emails. We had just had Pat Michaels on. He was threatened in those emails.
Did Pat Michaels write any of those emails?
He was threatened in them. Are you saying that it was a lie?
Have you gone to each of the people who authored the emails?
Let's have it out here. Are you saying flat out that they were a lie, and that's why you won't respond directly to them?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
I don't know whether or not they were. No one has. The authors of those emails have not come forward and say, yes, I wrote that.
Thousands of them revealed. And you cannot dismiss that as being inauthentic.
They were by Russian cyber criminals hacking into a computer.
Credibility.
How do we know that they're authentic?
There goes your credibility, I'm
We
sure.
have no way to know.
Dan,
the real threat isn't the emails. The real threat is global warming pollution.
Pity that Copenhagen meeting didn't get off the ground. Dan, a pleasure. Thank you very much, Dan Weiss.
It hasn't started yet. It's scheduled to start in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and it won't achieve a thing. Nothing at all, and you know it. It's a bust.